Rising from the frigid waters of San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz was a place built on fear, designed to crush hope. Known as the Rock, it was the most secure prison in the United States. Surrounded by swift currents, freezing temperatures, and watchful guards, Alcatraz was considered inescapable. But in June of 1962, three men, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, would challenge that reputation. Their disappearance remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Alcatraz opened as a federal penitentiary in 1934. It was meant to hold the worst of the worst: gangsters, escape artists, and criminals who caused trouble in other prisons. Its walls confined names like Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly, and Birdman, Robert Stroud. The island itself was a natural fortress. The water temperature averaged just 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Strong tidal currents swept through the bay, capable of pulling even strong swimmers under. Guard towers with machine guns watched every corner. The message was simple: once you entered Alcatraz, you would never leave. And yet, history was about to prove otherwise. Frank Morris was the mastermind. Born into poverty, he grew up in foster homes, and by the age of 13, he was already in trouble with the law. Highly intelligent with an IQ said to be in the top 2%, Morris had a talent for planning and patience. But his life was a cycle of theft, escape, and capture. The Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, were inseparable. Born in Georgia and raised in Florida, they grew up working on farms and fishing in rivers. They became skilled swimmers used to cold water, a detail that may have made all the difference in their escape. Like Morris, they too fell into a life of crime, specializing in bank robberies. The three met at the Atlanta Penitentiary, where they formed a bond. Their friendship, combined with a shared determination never to die behind bars, would become the foundation of the escape plan. When Morris arrived at Alcatraz in 1960, he was already thinking about escape. By 1961, the Anglin brothers had been transferred there too. The trio discovered that the prison, while formidable, had weaknesses. The walls around the ventilation grates in their cells had begun to crumble due to years of moisture and salt air. With patience, they realized they could dig their way out. Using spoons stolen from the cafeteria and a drill fashioned from a vacuum cleaner motor, they began chipping away at the concrete. Each evening, they concealed the noise with music played during lights out. The dust and rubble were hidden inside hollow pipes and discarded in the prison yard during their daily chores. This work continued for months, unnoticed by guards just feet away. Life was harsh, designed to break men's spirits. Cells measured just 5 by 9 feet. Silence was enforced much of the time. Days were monotonous: meals, work, and isolation. For many, Alcatraz was the end of the line. But for Morris and the Anglins, routine became a cover. They blended in, worked jobs in the prison, and used every moment to prepare. To keep suspicion low, they created papier-mâché heads made from soap, toilet paper, and real hair gathered from the barber shop. These heads were placed on their pillows, fooling guards during nighttime bed checks. Their plan was meticulous. Every detail mattered. A single mistake could mean discovery and death. On the evening of June 11th, 1962, the final act began. As the prison settled into silence, the men placed their dummy heads on the pillows and slipped through the holes they had carved behind their cell vents. Crawling through a hidden utility corridor, they climbed up a network of pipes to the roof. From there, they carefully descended 50 feet down a drain pipe to reach the ground, just outside the prison's spotlight range. Waiting for them was their final creation: a makeshift raft and life vest stitched together from more than 50 stolen raincoats. It had taken months to assemble, sealed with heat from steam pipes and waterproofed with glue from the prison workshop. They carried it to the shoreline, inflated it, and under the cover of darkness, pushed into the freezing waters of San Francisco Bay. The next morning, June 12th, guards made a chilling discovery. The beds appeared occupied until closer inspection revealed the dummy heads. Alarms were sounded and a massive manhunt began. The Coast Guard, FBI, and local police scoured the bay. Patrol boats circled the island while helicopters swept the water. What they found was troubling. Paddles washed up on Angel Island, a wallet wrapped in plastic and remnants of raincoats on the shoreline. But of the men themselves, no trace. Authorities insisted the waters were too cold, the currents too strong. Officially, they declared the escapees drowned. But the absence of bodies left a haunting question. Did they make it? The FBI conducted one of the largest investigations in its history. For 17 years, they followed leads, interviewed witnesses, and searched the bay. Some evidence suggested survival. Reports surfaced of a stolen car in Marin County on the night of the escape. Family members of the Anglins later claimed they received mysterious Christmas cards, unsigned, but believed to be from the brothers. Even photographs emerged decades later, supposedly showing the Anglins alive in Brazil. Still, the FBI insisted the men drowned. In 1979, the Bureau officially closed the case, declaring survival impossible. Yet the U.S. Marshals Service kept it open, listing the men as wanted and promising to pursue any credible lead until they turned 99 years old. Over the years, theories multiplied. Some believe the men perished within minutes, swept under by the freezing currents. Others point to their resourcefulness. If anyone could survive, it was Morris and the Anglins. In 2013, a letter surfaced, allegedly from John Anglin, claiming the escape was successful but that his brother had died. The letter's authenticity has never been confirmed. Meanwhile, experts who recreated the escape using modern simulations concluded that survival was possible, but only if the men launched at the right time, when the tides were favorable. And according to tide charts on that very night, conditions may have been just right. The 1962 escape shook America. If men could break free from Alcatraz, what did that mean for other prisons? The myth of the escape-proof rock was shattered. Just 1 year later, in 1963, Alcatraz was closed. Officially, the reasons cited were high operating costs and crumbling infrastructure. But many believe the escape highlighted vulnerabilities the government could no longer ignore. The story inspired books, documentaries, and the famous film Escape from Alcatraz, starring Clint Eastwood. The mystery became part of American folklore, a tale of cunning, courage, and the eternal human desire for freedom. The enduring mystery today, tourists walk the empty cell blocks of Alcatraz. They peer into the very cells once occupied by Morris and the Anglin brothers. They see the crude holes cut into the walls, the dummy heads, and the barred windows overlooking the bay. Some wonder if the men are buried beneath the waves. Others like to believe they made it. More than 60 years later, the fate of Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin remains unsolved. Their escape from Alcatraz endures as one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. A story suspended forever between myth and reality. Escape from Alcatraz, 1962. Did they die in the bay? Or live in freedom?